Yo, what's good? It's your boy Deke. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Jordan documentary here. There's a few things that I found interesting. I'm probably going to break it up into separate parts, but this is from episodes, I think it was 5 and 6. It was one of those two, not the ones from yesterday, 7 and 8. I've been wanting to talk about this for a little bit, just haven't really got around to do it, but yeah, so I'm happy to finally get to it. Now, he had a quote. He was talking about when he and Nike first joined together and the Air Jordan brand started to go off. He had this to say, and I found it really interesting. So, one was, my game was my biggest endorsement. What I did on the basketball court, my dedication to the game, led to all this other stuff. Believe me, if I was averaging 2 points, 3 rebounds, I wouldn't have signed anything with anybody. My game did all my talking. Now, I find this interesting, maybe not interesting, but I just find it profound because a lot of times, myself included, we want the accolades, we want the attention, we want the brand, we want all this stuff before getting the craft down. So, for instance, I mean, you could use a YouTube channel, for instance, right? I want all these subscribers, I want all these views, yet I'm not really focused on doing the best job that I can. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get 100% subscribers, views, all that type of stuff's important, especially if you're trying to make a living off of it. That's really important. But the thing is, if you're gonna be great, if you want to be the best you can at talking, media, YouTube channel, if you want to be the best at as an entrepreneur, best at sports, anything in life, this is across the board, anything, the key is to focus on the actual thing as opposed to the stuff afterwards, because being great, that's the thing that lasts. If you want views, if you want attention, I could tell you certain things you could do right now to get that. But is it something you're going to want to keep doing and replicating over and over again for the next 5 to 10 years? Something that you're proud of, something you think that's going to last generations? Speaking of lasting, this Jordan brand has lasted this long, and he sells more shoes than LeBron, Kobe, KD, any of these players in the league right now. So his brand has lasted. And go back to his quote. Why does it last? Because he was great at what he does. He focused on that and not focused on attention. Because here's another thing to consider. If you focus on just attention, you're going to stop. Because think back with Jordan. Let's use Jordan as an example. We could use any athlete. We could use Brady. Jordan in high school, there's the whole story about him getting cut from his high school team and having to play JV. Obviously, the attention wasn't there. What happened? He kept working. Tom Brady in Michigan, whenever he was the quarterback there, they brought in Drew Henson. There was a big controversy of them going back and forth between being the starter. He was a sixth-round pick for the Patriots, was a fourth stringer his first year. If what drove him was attention and accolades and that type of stuff, then he would have stopped. They both just wanted to focus on their craft and be the best they could be and just winning. Now look at what happened after. You've Jordan with his brand, it's blown up. One, because he was great at what he did, and all the other stuff, the commercials, the advertising, and that's important. Trust me, that's important. That was definitely a part of it, but it wouldn't matter if he wasn't great first. Same with Brady. His stuff with TB12, his book, and some of his Facebook videos, those are popular and those are legit because he was great. 6 Super Bowls and just who he is as a quarterback. Another thing to consider, and this is probably my last point with this, is if you're focused on the external or that other stuff for validation at what you're doing, then you're missing out on what you're doing. Now, hear me out on this. Let's use a guitar player, for instance. I'm just using different examples as we go just to really make the point here. If you think you're finally validated when you and your band hit 1 million views on Spotify, 1 million fans, or you start making this amount of money, that whole time leading up to that point, let's say you're playing guitar for 5 to 10 years, but you never feel like what you're doing is validated, and you're always looking towards the future. Man, once this happened, we're finally going to be like a legit band. I'm finally going to be considered a legit guitar player. You just spent 5 to 10 years looking forward to something that didn't change. You were a guitar player that whole time. So you're missing out on the now. Think of Jordan. He was a basketball player that whole time before he became Air Jordan. If you focus on that point, you're going to be sitting there like, all right, now what? Now, did I really just spend my whole time focusing on once I get this many views or this many people paying attention to me? And now that I have it, I realized, what's next then? Am I going to keep chasing that? Or am I just going to focus on playing guitar to the best of my ability and not missing out on the present, not missing out on the now? Because that stuff will come. I mean, it's not completely guaranteed, but if you focus on being great and then you can mix in being creative with your advertising and marketing, then you're gonna be pretty set. I'll put it that way. Focus on being great first, though. That's kind of the main thing. That's the message that I learned from this and learned from Jordan, and I'm trying to take away for myself. And I just thought I'd share. I hope it helps with someone that's because it's something I've struggled with too. I mean, who doesn't want the accolades? Who doesn't want people paying attention to them? But at the end of the day, it's not the most important thing. Remember, it's important, very important actually, but it's not the most important thing. Just focus on being great at what you do and working hard. That's kind of it. Yeah, guys, appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me know what you think. If you have any thoughts, questions, whatever. But yeah, until next time, peace.